And good evening again, guys, or good morning. All right, so Mr. MC Kid, we've got your 2x8 on here. So we're going to start with a note, which is great because, I mean, every time somebody sends me a note, it really helps out a lot. Um, you know, it says it's, his 2x8 box, he's not sure what's wrong. The fan has quit working and he believes one or two pills may be blown. If you see anything that needs to be fixed or corrected, fix it. So I mean, that's basically what it amounts to. So let's go ahead and get the screws out of this thing and see visually what we can find going on with it. So get all the screws out of the cabinet here. I just unboxed this. I actually had a neighbor stop by. Otherwise, I would have been on here much sooner than what I was. But yeah, quick little repair, no big deal. So got him taken care of. He's good to go. Because of where I work third shift, it's very, very difficult. And I do have a few neighbors that if they see the light on the shop, they'll pop in from time to time for a quick visit. So, all right, so let's get this opened up. Take a look inside. All righty, so we have a Toshiba box. Not sure who the builder was. Almost kind of reminds me of Tech 9, to be honest with you. But not quite 100% sure who the original builder was. All right, so let's get this fan out of the way. We're going to start from that point. I know he said something about thinks the fan quit working, so that's an easy fix. We can take a quick look at it. We'll do that separate from the amplifier. There we go. All right, so I know generally at this time of the morning I don't have a lot of viewers, but we still do the live feeds anyways. I try to get out here when I can early to go ahead and do live feeds. That way people are actually up and able to enjoy it. So, all right, let's set the fan off to the side because that's kind of an irrelevance at this moment. Our big thing is we want to see what's going on with the transistors and if there's actually any problems. So now, since this is a Toshiba build, one of the nice things is we have tattletales. And with the tattletales, which is our little 10 ohm resistors here on each transistor to ground, that usually is a good indication. So looks like at some point the 2290s have been replaced because they don't look like the same kind of soldering job as the rest of the amplifier. So I know he's had this amplifier for many, many years and has talked oodles and gobs of skip with this, but it's a 2x8, all in one cabinet. Again, wonderful setup just because of the way it's designed. So let's see if we can kind of figure out here if there's anything visually that we can see going on. So we'll start here with the drive section, which rarely it's in the drive section, but it does happen on occasions. And no resistors blowed there. Nothing along the way here that we can see. Go through here. Let's look at the potentiometer, since he's got a pot in here for variable. It seems to be smooth, so that's good. Low resistor here, the 100 ohm to ground. That's not been darkened, so I know he hasn't been trying to overdrive it with that wide open, or with that turned way down. So that's a major plus. So we're good on that. Overall, it's really not in too bad a shape. I mean, you can tell that, you know, it's definitely old. It needs to be, definitely needs some cleaning. You know, we'll get some of this old flux out of here and get along a little further on the path. So all right, let's check to see if there's anything that has maybe gotten in between the cuts here. Give a little white scrape. Sometimes you get enough of that rosin and it will wick microscopic amounts of solder or solder in between there. So go ahead and kind of scrape that. Take a quick look. Okay. Oh, that looks pretty good. Okay. Let's do a quick dusting. Okay. Morning time or evening. So we got one that decided to pop in there. I'll put the lid back on my bottle here. Almost through with my root beer. Of course, the wife would have a fit. She doesn't want me drinking soda pop anymore. Okay. Everything's still good and tight. Okay. And all of our connections seem to be made very well. So I don't really see anything that's standing out. Checking to make sure, which I have seen on very rare occasions, where the 330s or 120s in this case, going to ground. I have on rare occasions seen where one of these have blown. or self-detonated, I should say, it'd probably be the more appropriate word. So, do you see a little flake of solder that, you see there, my hand popped out. Get that out of the way. I've already cleaned out my ashtray that I use for, just little scrap pieces, parts, small capacitors, whatever I'm replacing at the time. It just makes it easier than having a physical trash can right here next to me. So it's the same principle. All right. Let's see if he's had. Okay, so we got 5L, 5L, 5L. Okay, so he has had 3 transistors, it looks like, replaced at one time. We've got a pair of 8Ds in this first section. Second section, we've got a 7J and a 5L, and then everything else follows in suits of 5L. So, as far as lot-wise, so we know that this has been repaired at least 2 other times. Make sure there's nothing in between this one, because I didn't check that a while ago. See a little dark spot, but I don't know if that's anything or if that's just the camera. Okay. So it looks like that's all good. Going into our input. All looks fine. See a couple small little solder splatters down in there, but I can tell they've been there for years, so they're probably stuck pretty good. Well, not as good as I thought. Go ahead and get those out of there. One of them. See if we can get the other one here. There we go. All right, so looks like overall it's in pretty decent shape overall. Looks like they're using 3 and 3 for our turns. Okay. All right, so let's see. We can hook up some power to this and see what it's doing, maybe. So, one of the things I noticed is this has got a solder lug or a lug on the back for our ground. I wished I would have gotten the connector with this, just because it would have made it easier to hook up here at the workbench. So, let me grab one of my connectors and see if we can't attach enough of something here to, because I may have to make some kind of an adapter in order to go ahead and hook this up. See what we've got here over here on the sidewall. Okay. All right. You guys can see my belly too. All right. So I've got a couple of different test leads already pre-made up, just for stuff like this where I can hook up on the bench or disassemble something, put something together a little different, and create whatever the customer originally had. So put a wrench on that and tighten that down here in a second. Side. I'll go ahead and hook the DC side of this plug. We can get on that little tab here. We'll depress that, pull mine out, put his in. Okay. Now we can actually hook this up, put some power to it. Okay, somewhere I've got another adapter that I can go from there over to my workbench. So let me see where my adapter is, because I know this won't go to the power supply without at least some form of a jumper. Let's see here. Yeah, I've actually moved some stuff around in here, so 8 gauge, that's a little easier to find. The 4 gauge, I don't know where my adapter is. I've usually got it hanging on the wall. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now we've got some power. So I'm not too worried about the fan, so we can check that separately. So we'll start hooking up our test equipment here real quick. Find out what we've got going on. Okay. All right, so for basic testing, we're just going to use our Cobra 29. And turn on power supply. Okay, that's a good sign for the relay engage. Hello. Okay. So let's go over here to the meters. Let's see what we got going on. All right, let's see if we can get all of them in there. We can kind of go through and check. Okay, that's with the variable wide open. Bring the carrier up on the radio. Okay, there's a 100-watt carrier. Hello. So we're pegging our 1,000-watt scale. So let's just take that times 2. So that makes our 20, 200, 40 is 400, 60 is 600, so on and so forth. Hello. 2,000, that just seems a little odd. Hello. We've got about 600 on the RMS, but yeah, that don't. Let's go down to 5 times. There's got to be some harmonics in this box. Hello. Hello. Yeah. So. Hello. Yeah, 3,800. I think that's a bit much. So let's go over here. Let's turn on our analyzer. 27. Whatever. 305 is what I've got my radio set at right now. Oops. 27.305. Okay. Let's change that span. Let's go to 1 megahertz bandwidth. Okay. So look at the spectrum analyzer here. Let's see. Span. Let's go out to 5. Okay, so we do have a little bit of harmonics. Hello, audio. They're down pretty low, so I don't think that's what's causing that. I'm just not used to seeing that kind of peak versus RMS. So let's see here. That's at 20 dBm. Let's take it down to 10. Span. Okay, so we're at the limits. So it's 5 megahertz. Okay. Let's take it to 2 here. That way we get a little more spectrum range. Hello, audio, audio, audio. Okay. So the box is going, but we just need to go through and do some retuning. It looks like, but it's not too far from its heart to kill it. So that's always the plus. And that is my wife. Hello, audio. Input's good. We're down to like 1/4 watt. Audio. About a 1/2 watt on the reflect, going back to the 5,000 watt bird dummy load, which is actually really good. So, I was expecting around 2,000, maybe 2,500 out of the box, but like I said, it's a little bit higher on the peak than what I really thought. So, I'm going to check some values and stuff. Like I said, we've got a few slight harmonics, that are going out. Although that works very well as far as the spectrum analyzer to tell me most things, it does not do quite as wide a range as like the handheld I've got. So let's hook up the handheld. Let's see what the handheld shows. Do. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Bear with me here. Let's see, function. Mode, spectrum. There we go. Center is there. So I've got this set for a 50 megahertz. So let's hook this up. See what it's going to do. See what it shows us. Hello, audio. All right, so that's where we've got it at. So let's see what we can't do here. Span. Let's take that from 50. Let's do 25 megahertz span. Hello, audio. Okay, so we've got a few of them that's right at about 40 dB. So that's probably, since that's at least 50%, that's probably where we're getting a few of the extra peak power watts out of this. So, we'll go through, and like I said, we'll go through and check a few things as far as on the components and make sure everything's like it should be. I know the tune is actually pretty good right where it's at for power wise. One of the other things too that he wanted me to do while we were in here, since it came in, is do like a reflow here for your for the incoming power. Change out the chokes here. Wants to go ahead and upgrade those to a little bit bigger and better power wire so that we can feed those. We'll probably do the same thing here on the 2-pill. We'll do some reflow here on the transistors. so that we know those are in good shape. And I'll start pulling some of these capacitors, and we'll start checking that stuff out and see what's going on. All right, guys. Like I said, I just wanted to do a pre-video on this so that I could figure out what was going on. We'll check the fan out here in just a second, actually, before we finish this up. So that way we can find out. The good thing is we don't have bad transistors. So that in itself is a huge deal, especially considering the fact that we are dealing with Toshiba transistors. That makes it a little more difficult on the repair. Had we had a bad transistor, especially on the main drive section, we would have had to have looked into doing a complete reformat and changing that over to the 2879 HG series. So that's a major plus. All right, guys, I'll be back here in a little bit. If not today, probably tomorrow. We'll go through and start pulling some stuff out this evening. I'll start checking it. I'll clean up the board, see if we've got any other little tick turds that maybe still floating around inside there, which I see one now. But we'll go through and give this a good old-fashioned cleaning. So let's get this off the bench, check the fan real quick, and then we'll come back to the amp. Get my fingers in there. Okay. So let's set this off to the side. We'll check the fan and then pull this back up on here and start pulling components and checking. Do have a good working fan. Alrighty, guys. So part one of the MC Kit amp is pretty much finished for now. Like I said, I'll go through and I'll start pulling some pieces and parts and checking to see if we've got something that maybe is just a little bit out of tune. I think it's too far from its heart to kill it, no more than what it is. So we'll go through and see if we can't take care of that and maybe get him a little more RMS out of this. So, all right, guys, I appreciate it. Like I said, just wanted to touch base, do another quick little video, and go to the next. All right, we'll see you on the next clip, guys.